will pause for one moment.
The ceiling's falling or something.
Oh, they have your stuff down at, where's this, is there a stack of stuff for her down there?
Wait. And Janet has a comp plan for you. Not that you need it. Okay, one more time. The Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Gun Barrel City, Texas will meet in a regular meeting in City Hall Council Chambers located at 1716 West Main Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas, on Tuesday, February 28th, 2003 at 4:30 p.m. I call the meeting to order at, it looks like 4:32. Roll call, please, to establish quorum from my left.
Jacobs here. Coleman here.
Mullins here.
Weller here.
Towner here.
Key here.
Citizens' comments during public hearings, limited to 5 minutes. The public hearing allows citizens the opportunity to address the commission on the specific item for which the public hearing is opened. No other issue can be addressed, and the presiding officer will withdraw recognition of the speaker. Any person desiring to speak must fill out the comment form prior to the gaveling to order of the meeting. Individual citizens' comments are limited to 5 minutes, and minutes are not transferable to another citizen. Any person desiring to speak must come to the podium and be recognized by the presiding officer. City staff will be referred to as staff, not by name, title, or position, and no disparaging remarks will be made. Commissioners will not respond to comments during the public hearing, but may refer to them during their discussion of the issue. We will have no citizens' comments today as we have no public hearing. New business, 1A, discuss and/or take action to approve a site plan for Quick and Clean Car Wash to be located at 1053 West Main Street, Gun Barrel City, Texas. Do we have anyone here from the car wash? Great. If you'd go to the podium, please.
Do you need a motion?
Oh, excuse me, yes. I need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve a site plan for Quick and Clean Car Wash to be located 1053 West Main Street, Gun Barrel City.
Second.
Coleman second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
I have some questions regarding the site plan.
Do you want to talk us through first?
I can.
Read the site plan? I've asked the vice chair to talk us through how she reads a site plan, which I thought might be beneficial to all of us. So you can sit for a moment, please, while she walks us through it.
It's not going to be that long.
Y'all, we have two big enlargements.
I took the plan that came to us electronically. Everybody had this, and all I did was I enlarged the two halves of it so that you have one that shows the information that was on the right side and then the other that shows the plan. And you also have a handout, 8.5 by 11, that shows the site plan approval process. Down at the bottom, A through G lists the things that planning and zoning is supposed to review. There are things that we are not allowed to review, but A through G are the things that we're supposed to look at. The general character and compatibility, the ingress and egress from the property, location and arrangement of all buildings, environmental aspects, utilities, screening, buffering, and landscaping, and then recreation and open space, which really doesn't apply to this project. So also included in the information from the secretary was a report from Mundo Engineers and Mundo reviewed very thoroughly the stormwater and the drainage for the site. And in their cover letter, it said that all of their concerns have been addressed. So that's good that we don't have to get into the engineering aspects. So looking at the site plan and keeping handy our list of the things that we're supposed to look at, I try to go and look at every note and every word that's on the page and try to find how it relates to the things that are listed on the right-hand side, so that everything that has a note and an arrow that's pointing to something, you can go over to the legend and find out what that something is. And so I just try to look at everything that's there, going from property line to property line. And the things that, questions, I guess you can go now. If anybody has any questions on what's actually on the drawings. I know Ms. Coleman had a couple of questions.
First, please introduce yourself to us.
Thank you. My name is Mike Scarborough with 3K1 Consulting here on behalf of Quick and Clean Car Wash.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I have a question. It wasn't clear from the drawing. The long, narrow area that's at the, what I'm going to call the front of the building, do the customers go inside of that?
Okay, so you have the building itself, you have a long rectangle, a wider rectangle, and a narrower rectangle. Are you talking about the narrower rectangle?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the narrower,
That's hard to say.
I'm not sure why I'm struggling to say that. The less wide rectangle is inclusive of an equipment room,
Okay,
and then there are 2 restrooms,
okay,
male and female, and then there are 2 offices. And so the customers, and then there's also a roll-up door that is closed at night, and when the roll-up door's open, there would be a vending machine there that would have some car care products that you could purchase if you wanted to.
and where is that? Along the length of the whole thing?
It would be kind of, if you started on the bottom or the southern side of the plan as it's oriented on the screen, you've got office, restroom, and then the roll-up door would be between that and the double doors going into the equipment room. So kind of almost just short of the midpoint of the building on that side.
Okay, very good. So anything that the customers would need to access would be on the lower on the page portion of that skinny space.
Correct.
Okay, that leads me to my first question. Why are the handicap parking spaces so far away from that?
The accessible spaces, I think we had received word that was a question, and those spaces can move up. Typically, we have them down along the southern side of the building because the main place that most people would go to would be the restroom or the offices. But if they need to get moved up in order to be in compliance with ARS, then we can certainly make that switch. That's not a concern.
Okay, very good. And then the, boy, this is hard to describe. Between each parking space, there's a stripe,
Yep.
and then there's a vacuum hose
Yes.
that kind of swings out almost to the end of the parking space.
Almost to the end. That's correct.
Okay. And there's a vacuum, and this is weird, again with the handicap parking spaces, there's a vacuum hose between this parking space and the aisle between them.
So it's interesting. We've had some jurisdictions and some people who review the ADAAG guidelines that say that whatever you provide people who don't need to utilize the accessible space, you also have to provide for those who do use the accessible space. So we put vacuums so they have the ability to vacuum in those spaces. We've had other jurisdictions say that it could be in conflict with the door opening and trying to get them out of the vehicle. And so in those cases, we just pull them off and don't include them. It's really how the jurisdiction is reviewing it. We've, in Texas, as you well know, we have the accessibility review that's in addition to the plan review.
Right.
And so we really rely heavily on kind of the direction they give us as well.
Have you had that, have you gotten the comments back from them yet, or
We
have you submitted
have
that
gotten
yet?
the comments back, but I can't tell you off the top
Okay.
of my head how that was addressed, but we would certainly follow those guidelines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then that, well, if you have submitted and have comments on that, and if you work through those.
Yeah.
Then that'll answer all of my questions
Oh, perfect.
on that issue. On the, and for the commission members, looking at the chart on the right-hand side, about halfway down where it says zoning information, under jurisdiction, it lists Henderson County.
I believe that was just a
Just a type of.
it was misinformation, yeah, that just needed to get cleaned up in the data box.
Okay. And then on the parking required, the calculation says 1 for every 150 gross floor area. Where did that 1 for 150 come from? Because I don't find it in our regs.
You asked me a question I don't know that I can answer off the top of my head, but I don't know the answer to that. I'm
Okay.
not sure where that came from, if it was potentially a comment that came from some initial review from Mundo and their group, or if it's something my engineer derived from someplace, but
That's what I'm
not-
thinking it
I'm not
might have been.
certain. Yeah, I'm not certain.
I think there's plenty of parking
There is.
and plenty of vacuum hoses. I was just curious, why 1 to 150? Because it seems like a lot,
Yeah.
for one thing. So, okay, so then that is not answered, but I don't know that it's necessarily a problem. It's just, it seems like a lot. So those questions, and I had a question about the turning radius for the fire truck. But our fire chief, fire department said that they're perfectly fine with it, so that
Perfect.
question went away.
Perfect.
So anyone else have questions on the site plan or any of the items listed?
I just had a question, I'm sorry.
Go for it, go for it.
I just had a question about the drainage issue. How did you resolve that?
They did quite a extensive study regarding the amount of stormwater that is coming through the property and moving its way through the property and then continues beyond the property. And so based on that evaluation, we were able to detain it on site, which essentially slows that stormwater down and then bleeds it out over a period of time, and then allow it to continue in its normal course that it had previous to development. And so we worked out those details with Mundo and their group.
Okay.
So you're just slowing it down?
Slowing it.
Correct, yeah, we're not retaining and holding, but it's more of a detain situation where we just slow it down and then let it move itself through the system as the event occurs.
Okay. Thank you.
How would you say that this facility is different from the car wash we already have in our community?
Well, it's similar in concept, for sure. It's an express car wash. You stay in your vehicle, you go through the tunnel, and you exit. It's kind of hard to describe. The difference between that would be like asking maybe what's the difference between a McDonald's and a Burger King. They're very similar, although they operate slightly different. I have no experience or history with that other operator, but I will tell you that Richard Carl here is in the audience. He is the owner of Quick and Clean Car Wash. We've developed 75, 80 of these over the course of the last 15, 20 years. He's a remarkable operator, and I mean, without overstating it, you might literally find him pushing a walking broom on site to make sure that the site is clean and kept to his standards. So operationally, I'd say that he's one of the best operators that we've come across. And I would say that the offer is a little bit larger and a little bit more enticing in terms of just the ability to get in and get out versus the competitor. It's on the opposite side of the road, which can be good during high traffic times and give people an opportunity to get it either on their way in or their way home, into work or on their way home. But again, I think it's kind of hard to fully differentiate it because they are very similar concepts.
Okay.
Any more questions, discussion? Then we're ready for a vote, aren't we?
We are. I would like to amend my motion
All right.
to approve the site plan contingent on what he stated, that they would comply with the requirements of the accessibility specialist.
Who seconded?
Coleman, second?
Ms. Coleman, do you accept that amendment?
Yes, with the amendment attached, yes.
Then I see no other discussion, so voting from my left.
Jacobs, yes.
Coleman, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Weller, yes.
Towner, yes.
Key, yes.
The motion is approved. We will send it with our approval to City Council. If there's no other business, our meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for answering the questions.